Velavas is peering idly at the view beyond the parapet and is unaware of your arrival, yet you are reluctant to leave the shimmering beam for fear that it may see you and raise an alarm. Do you wish to use Assimilance,
Yeah.
or Grand Hunt Mastery, or neither?
Assimilance.
Assimilance.
Using your Grand Master, you conjure a thick mist to surround the basalt dais on which you stand. The sudden appearance of the fox startles Velavas and nervously it backs away along the parapet. It is armed with a barbed trident, with which it stabs the air as it retreats, as if to warn off any would-be attacker. You watch Velavas moving away, and then, under cover of a mist, you sprint from the dais towards an open archway at the base of the tower. A spiral stone stairway leads down to a landing on one level below, and as you reach this floor, you see something that brings you skidding to a halt.
Again? Huh.
I think it means you just stop up rather suddenly, Through a square hole in the wall of the tower, you catch your first clear view of this subterranean domain, where it lies deep beneath the crater. Nestling within a colossal cavern of crimson lava rock, you look out across an alien city that is split in two by a steep side chasm. Lava swoop back and forth across this divide, while their wingless comrades traverse it by means of a narrow bridge constructed from blocks of blue-grey basalt. As you stare at the stubby towers and flat-roofed dwellings clustered on either side, your heart suddenly skips a beat. Perched upon a vast mound of shiny black cubes on the far side of the chasm, you see a temple. Carvings of dragons embellish its angular surface, engraved in such a fashion that their scaly bodies lie recumbent around the base of the edifice, whilst their tails writhe towards its highest level. Here they become entwined to form a twisted stem. Atop this stem, like branches fanning out above the trunk of a petrified tree, you see an inverted cupola of bright orange flames, a nest of fire. You sense confirm that you have found the lair of Huan-Sor, the Dragon Lord, as revealed in the Tome of Darkness. This is the nest of fire which lies upon the Tree of the Worm, and it is here that you will find the scarab will allow you to leave Huan-Sor's hellish domain. It sometimes seems like the book just thinks we're just a tad bit slow.
Yeah. I don't know.
Quietly, you resolve to reach the distant temple and achieve this aim. You magnify your vision, and your hopes rise when you see that both the fiery nest and the temple appears to be uninhabited. However, your enthusiasm is soon tempered when you consider how you can reach the far side undetected. For several minutes, you observe the lavas flying over the chasm and the traffic of wingless reptilians who cross via the bridge. The construction of new dwellings is taking place on the far side, and the lavas are busy overseeing the transportation of building blocks from a quarry situated close to the tower in which you are standing. Under the direction of the lavas, a steady convoy of winged dragons transport these quarried blocks across the chasm in great nets, which are slung beneath their bellies. As you watch this activity, you formulate two ways of reaching the far side. You could attempt to cross the bridge during a lull in the traffic, or you could try to stow away in one of the nets being ferried across by the lumbering dragons.
Sorry. That is a good question. But what would you guys say?
God, no. What is the first option again?
Attempt to cross the chasm via the bridge when there is a lull in the traffic.
And the second one?
Try to stow away in one of the dragon's nets.
Neither one of them sounds really these sounds like something I want to try.
Well, then it's up to you to figure out which one you dislike the least.
Let's try sneaking across the bridge.
Alright,
I don't know.
we try and sneak across the bridge.
You hurry down the spiral stairs to the base of the tower and make your way quickly through the narrow alleys of this subterranean settlement. Using your camouflage skills to stay hidden from the lavas and the dragons that soar overhead, you're able to make your way undetected to a group of rock mounds that overlook the chasm. Here you take cover behind a mound of broken rocks and settle down to observe the bridge. You note that the traffic flowing across it is not constant. There are occasional periods when the bridge is empty. However, it is exposed to the air for its entire length, some 500 yards, and it would be difficult for anyone on the bridge to avoid being seen by the creatures who fly back and forth across the chasm. At glimpse, you determine that if you're going to make a successful crossing here, you must first wait until the bridge is clear, and then you must cause some kind of diversion that will draw away the unwanted attention of the lavas and dragons. So, do you wish to use Animal Mastery, Kite Search, or neither?
Animal Mastery.
Animal Mastery.
Yeah, sure.
You notice a reptilian guard that is standing on the wide parapet of the bridge. It is leaning on its trident and seems to be staring idly at the river of bubbling lava which flows through the base of the chasm a mile below. Drawing upon your improved discipline, you focus on this creature and implant the image of its most feared enemy into its mind. The beast begins to tremble uncontrollably. It drops its weapon and with a howl of epic terror, it slips and falls headlong into the void.
Okay, that was sort of douchey, but yeah.
A pair of passing lavas dive into the chasm, screeching and cawing alarm. The handful of creatures who are on the bridge at this time immediately rush to the parapet. They are eager to watch as the lavas attempt to save the falling reptilian before it splashes into the molten river far below. From the sound of their cackling laughter, you get a distinct impression that they are hoping the rescue will be less than successful. While the ghoulish group are enjoying the sight of their comrade's plight, you seize the opportunity to make a dash across the bridge. Given roll with die. Add 3 for having Excellence, 2 for having Hunt Mastery, and 2 for that's not more valid. So yeah, add 5 in total.
Okie dokie.
Oh, these people are douchebags.
Well, yeah, except the lavas who will immediately try to rescue him.
So I'm at 5 in total.
What?
I was supposed to add 5 in total.
Yep.
13 then.
Okay, I just thought you asked if you should fire the purple. No, just one of the purple what? Barney? Maybe? I don't know. Your bold gamble pays off. You race across the bridge and reach the far side without being seen. Once across, you dive for cover in the empty lower story of the newly constructed dwelling, one of several that encircles the main temple. Here you pause to catch your breath and formulate a way of avoiding the many teams of reptilians who are busy building the crude block dwellings on this side of the chasm. You must now eat. I don't know what you eat, but nom.
Wow, a rock.
Oh, tastes like a barbecue.
The piles of building materials and the partially finished dwellings which surround the base of the main temple make it easy for you to approach this edifice without being seen. Your kind senses confirm that this grand construction is the lair of Huanzor, the master of this fire domain. It also confirms that the evil Dragon Lord is not in residence. You skirt around the base of the temple until you locate an entrance which is guarded by 2 armored reptilians. Using your Magnica skills, you lure the guards away from their post just long enough for you to gain entry. Once inside, you discover that at ground level, the temple comprises just one large chamber, which is supported by a single central pillar that runs through the middle of the building. A circular stair winds around the outside of the pillar, giving access to the levels above. Cautiously, you ascend the stairs and pass through the 4 levels, all empty. The higher you climb, the harder it becomes until when you reach the uppermost high of the temple, only your platinum amulet saves you from being roasted alive. In the roof of this narrow circular chamber, you discover an open trapdoor through which you can see a mass of flickering orange flames. You sense that it is the base of the nest fire, the location, as told in the Tome of Darkness, of the scarab of the wingless dragon, the artifact that can secure your escape from this domain. Do you get it yet? You need that thing! Have you understood it?
Yes, we have.
We need an artifact to get out of here. That's sort of what I think of, so yeah. That is the one.
With bated breath, you climb the scorched nest, which leads to the open trapdoor in the base of the nest of fire. But as you draw closer, your sixth sense warns you that the opening is not all it seems. It is protected by an invisible shield of magical energy. Do you wish to use your blue diamond?
Yeah. Apparently it is not just a one-time use.
Something strange is happening to the diamond in your pocket. It is radiating beams of light that pass through the material of your kite tunic. Acting on instinct, you snatch the radiant gem from your pocket and hold it up to the trapdoor. At first there is no reaction. Then amber sparks encircle the opening like the trail of a slow-burning fuse, and you sense that the magical shield which protects this hatch is rapidly disappearing. When you can no longer detect any magical energy, you pull yourself through the trapdoor and climb into the nest of fire. With trepidation, you cast your eyes around the walls of this fiery nest to see a great shaking panoply of gold, orange, and crimson flames. They shoot 15 paces into the air, and despite your protection, they scorch you with their terrible heat. The floor of the nest is paved with glowing black metal, and is heaped with scores of wondrous artifacts that comprise Huansor's secret treasure hoard. Gems, jewelry, statuettes, armor, and weapons of fiendish design and purpose are piled knee-high all around you. Close by the trapdoor, you notice a pool of shimmering blue light that you immediately recognize to be the apex of a transporter beam, similar to that which brought you here from the crater. By its location, you judge that it must pass through the central column, which supports the nest and the temple below. At first, you assume it gives access to the underground levels of the temple, but when you stare into its mesmerizing light, your sixth sense reveals otherwise. This transporter beam leads to another realm within the plane of darkness. Mindful of your purpose here, hurriedly you search the treasure hoard for the scarab that will enable you to escape safely from this hellish domain. As you're sifting through the hundreds of artifacts, you suddenly hear a distant screech that is distinctly different from the coarse cawing of the passing lavas. Through the flickering walls of flame, you glimpse the outline of a gigantic dragon as it emerges from a vent in the roof on the far side of the chasm. Immediately, a deathly silence fills the great cavern as the lavas and reptilians cease their activities and bow in deference to their master. Your pulse races when you see this monstrous creature come gliding across the chasm towards the temple, for you know that he is Huansor the Dragon Lord, the ruler of this realm of fire, and he is fast returning to his nest. Give an ear, roll a die, and add 3 for having telegnosis.
12.
The sight of Huansor fast approaching galvanizes you into action. You abandon your physical search for the scarab of the wingless dragon, and instead you close your eyes and focus your psychic Kai skills in an attempt to detect its presence. The tactic seems to work, for the image of the scarab crystallizes in your mind's eye. When you open your eye, you are disappointed to discover that you are staring at a seemingly plain orb of gold. Through the walls of flames, you can see Huansor's flaring his mighty wings. He is slowing his approach to the temple in preparation to land upon his nest of fire. In desperation, you stoop to retrieve the orb from among the other treasures, and as your fingers touch its golden surface, it breaks open to reveal the scarab within. Moments later, the shadow of Huansor darkens the nest. He is now seconds away from landing. Do you wish to keep the scarab and leap into the transporter, or pocket the scarab and try to hide?
Well, I think we should actually make directly for the transport, because if I'm not mistaken, dragons are very detailed when it comes to what kind of their hoard might just be, taken.
Yeah, there's a good chance this dragon will actually know that something is missing.
Yeah, I never
They
actually...
just know.
Yeah, I never actually understood that, how a dragon can know if just a single gold coin is missing. But
well,
then again,
they may be able to mentally categorize everything and thus easily notice when something is gone. I don't know. But
yeah.
so your suggestion is jump for the gate?
Yeah, basically
Is there
take
anything that we need to stay for?
Is there?
No, we just needed the scarab to get out and
Yeah.
get it.
So you run for it?
Yeah.
The moment you enter the beam, you feel yourself descending through the center of the temple in a cocoon of shimmering blue light. Gradually, the heat of the nest of fire gives way to a pleasant coolness, but as you continue, you descend deeper and deeper into the unknown. This equable, I think that's how it's pronounced, temperature slowly transforms into an unbearable icy chill. Never before have you experienced the terrible coldness that engulfs you now. Fortunately, the magical properties of the scarab of the wingless dragon protects and keeps you from freezing to death. As the temperature slowly begins to rise, you are able to examine the scarab that you took from Huansor's nest, and at once you notice 2 runic numerals on the back of the wingless dragon, engraved on the surface. So you can notice the scarab as a special item. It has a runic number 31.
Let me see. Bless you. Bless you again.
You remember to write down the runic numbers, don't you, Rana?
I do. Let me see if it was
Me
31.
too.
Okay, until now we have the evil amulets, the evil ring, the evil statue. Yeah.
Having satisfied your curiosity, you place the scarab into the pocket of your tunic and wait patiently for the beam to complete its seemingly endless descent. Eventually, the shimmering light fades and you feel solid ground materialize beneath your feet once more.